and welcome back to this your Gullah Geechee going on. Now me know how to just look on all of that shimmy and what been going on, and y'all say, well, great God, where we did at now? Y'all think that we did in India, ain't it? I know, cause yes, that was belly dancing, and I know y'all like, well, what that got to do with Gullah Geechees? Well, again, we're here with Tamar-Kali, who you actually saw in the video, who was teaching the class. Now, tell us a little bit about what brought you to actually teaching dance, and is this the only form of dance that you teach?
This is the only form of dance I teach. As a young person, I grew up, I learned ballet and modern, and that was the dance background I had. I came to a place in my Saturn return where I was in transition as a woman, and I had given up a lot of the things that I loved, and I was trying to reconnect with what gave me joy. Some decisions in my life at that time I was making the transition out of. And this dance came to me at that time. I had some friends who were really dancing, and I wasn't really thinking about doing it. I just wanted to start stretching and moving again. I was thinking I was going to go back to modern, whatever. And a woman named Orit who developed a fitness-based belly dance system called Sharky, the belly dance system. She really coached me into her class. I took to it like a fish out of water, and
been doing it ever since.
It's just, you know, it's a healing and ancient dance. And it originated in Africa and then branched out. So, and I always feel connected because a lot of the movements you use in belly dance, rock sharky, as it's called in the East.
Rock sharky.
Rock sharky was dance of the East. The name for it. But a lot of the movements is culturally significant or familiar to me. Because you see it throughout the diaspora.
Oh, absolutely.
And as I become more knowledgeable of the art form and the different rhythms used in the music, or African music, a lot of the rhythms you'll hear throughout the diaspora as well. Like a perfect example, our shouting rhythm, that which is also a dancehall rhythm. It's the malfus. It's called malfus. Which means to spin around. And
so again, that circular pattern that's connected to the shout that the polyrhythm goes. Isn't that interesting? Malfus. Interesting.
So, you know, and it's just as, you know, and it's like the more you learn about yourself, you can learn something that's North African, and my blood is based in West Africa, Senegambia region, but there are ties.
Exactly. And there are those connections, and that's part of what people don't grasp a lot of times. Again, we know some folks don't realize Africa's a continent, not a country. And so when we start talking about regions, and even when we talk about West Africa, there were so many people who migrated across the continent. And so you had people coming from the north ending up in the west because of trade and everything. And then also you had people intermarrying, you had people due to wars migrating, you know, by force. We still have that going on, unfortunately. But there is so much in it. And it's so interesting because that's been a discussion we've even had on Facebook recently, where people are exploring Hatha yoga and various forms. And I noticed even sort of your cooling at the end were different yoga moves that it looked like. And then when you're talking about the circular movements within all different forms of the diaspora, they are usually associated with healing and spirituality.
And birthrights, particularly in this part of the world.
In the part of one's body. And that's interesting. I'm glad you brought up this area, you know, and even like a lot of the Rastafarians would say the womb man, and so even with the womb here, when you're belly dancing and being able to move that area, a lot of people have said that's been very healing to people who have fibroids, and we know that fibroids are a big issue amongst a lot of African women nowadays. And so it's really good to see it and to hear about North Africa and how then this dance form migrated. Because so often we look at something and maybe won't do it because it's not part of our box or our circle, and say, well, why is she doing that? That's not our culture. Why is she doing that? You know, not realizing if you know yourself, like you were saying, you actually find yourself in it. When you
see ties.
You see the ties, exactly. And that's what makes it
different. They're called different things.
But they're all still the same, really.
But you call it whining or umi,
Yes, and it's still the same thing. And then, like you said, even as tone. You know, if you go to the Caribbean, you hear this tone. You hear it on the drums. You hear it with this, what we call a stamping stick, right? But you hear it with various instruments that people have made. You know, they might have shells inside. It might be a rain stick somewhere else, and it'd be a stamping stick where we are. But it still has that same energy. It draws down this certain energy from the universe that seems to heal the whole family.
And just because I'm a nerd like that, and the way you were doing in that pace, there's a downbeat on it. It's called the Ayu.
Ayu?
Yeah, Ayu.
Okay.
A-Y-O-U-P.
Interesting.
Ayu, when it's that fast, there's a downbeat. It's called the Ayu.
Ayu. And you know, that's interesting because if one of them a cracky tea, they Gullah and said, Ayu got I know what's that. So that would have been still, I'm you, you're me. You know, we are. I am because we are. So that is deep, you know, and definitely again, that numerical part that goes to it. You know, when people count off in music and they go through their scales and there's that counting, and that's still so evolutionary. That's all part of that circle. You know, when people talk about 360 degrees, you know, of connection, that's where it is. And you know, as African people, like people said to me before, I ain't gonna be part of no revolution if ain't gonna be no drums and ain't gonna be no dancing. So they know in the Gullah Geechee Nation, folks love to dance, they love hearing the drums, they love playing them. We love just the sound of music. And it's so beautiful when that circle comes together around it, definitely. So whether we the movie foot, movie hand, or movie belly like a this here and thing like that there, you know, we're so glad that all throughout the world African people can reconnect, and we're so proud of you for making this new movement even move further. You know, because definitely being an African woman, being a Gullah Geechee woman, being in an Afro-Punk scene, you know, it says to some of our young people on the island, continue to do what your ancestors did. That is down the walls. That is do it your own way. You know, take what you have right there where you are and then create from, you know. And so we're definitely glad to have on a young and thing like that. One day we gonna have to get together and make one song together and thing like that. But the Gullah Geechee and thing like that. I can do the Gullah while you do the other rest of the things. All of that. I know everybody buying that. Then we'll get Kwame to do a remix for us, you know, and then we can do a house version, an Afro-Punk version all the way. You know that's right. A belly dancing version. So definitely we will keep y'all posted on when that's gonna drop. But definitely in the meantime, we know there's a lot of shows coming up, things that we'll be posting for different shows you're doing all around the country. We know you have some live things coming up. Image Nation was a recent show you did in New York by the time this airs, and so a lot of stuff happening. But keep us posted no matter where on the grind, because we try to keep people knowing what is going on. So once again, this is Tamar-Kali. She is the originator. Tell them the name of the music.
Geechee Goddess, Hardcore Warrior Soul.
Yes, and so definitely, that's how we are. Y'all know, with Gullah Geechee people, you basically gonna love us or you just gonna get out our way. Because we definitely go hardcore, and that's what going on. This year the Queen Quet, head on the body of this year Gullah Geechee Nation. Thank on the children for joining in. This year, the we show, and look at some of the drum, what are we going on one more again in Georgia coming up at the Gullah Geechee Nation International Music and Movement Festival. And some years to come, we gotta have this your gal did it with beat, you understand? Then y'all can throw them down and move around too. Peace and blessings. Chillin' come for join we and bring the family. Gullah Geechee Nation International Music and Movement Festival. August 21st through 23rd comes to the Coastal Empire. For more information, call 843-838-1171. Yes, join we and this your golden hour gala. Chillin' no, it going to be a time.